Every year, tens of thousands of students descend upon Cardiff to attend university. Reflecting the geographic trend of the concentration of social groups in society, some common attitudes towards change in student areas point to an increase in antisocial behaviour. In addition to gaining a degree, students anticipate immersing themselves into Cardiff's notorious nightlife. This work hard, play hard attitude has resulted in a drinking culture that can have significant negative impacts on Cardiff's wider community, causing issues for both the authorities and local residents of areas densely populated by students, primarily noise emanating from houses, streets and gardens.
The problem is students just don't think about it's noise you would never make at home when you're living with your parents. They know it's too loud, but all the drinking and the groups of friends, I think that thought goes out the window. And it's not malicious, it's just not really thought about. There's a bit of a myth around that you can have loud noise up till 11 o'clock at night and this kind of thing within the student community. It's not true. Loud noise is loud noise, 24 hours a day. You know, you could be living next to a shift worker, you know, who sleeps in the day, so therefore it's still not acceptable. The biggest is if you're disturbing somebody's way of life, it's antisocial, and it's an issue.
No, I've been here now for 28 years, and for elderly people or people with young children, you know, it is difficult. You cannot be kept up night after night with people partying in the back garden. It just doesn't work.
After a night out, students typically consume takeaways and fast food on the way home, and often do not think to appropriately dispose of the rubbish. Not only does this contribute to an unaesthetic physical environment for local residents, but also creates problems for authorities. For example, the Cardiff City Council have to spend more time and taxpayers' money clearing up the mess which students leave behind.
I finish about 4 or 5 o'clock, and by then most students have come home from the clubs and there's litter everywhere, like bins from residents being kicked over. One of the biggest problems is like all the takeaway boxes. They end up just getting chucked with half-eaten food and cans that have obviously been pre-drinks on the way there. So that's probably the worst issue I see with the litter. Quite often you see people who've left their bags out to be collected, and as a result drunken people usually kick them over, rip them open. So yeah, it's quite a big issue walking home. Well, how we deal with litter, I mean, we have to send someone away from the bar pretty much every 20 minutes or so to go and collect all the rubbish and litter that's strewn on the floor or the tables. We end up filling quite a few skipfuls, literally just of kids coming and throwing stuff about, being drunk, not really realising that they've got 4 or 5 drinks right in front of them, half knocked over, half on the floor. So, a bit of an issue, that one, for us.
Due to copious amounts of drinking, it's easy for a good night to turn bad, with drunk and disorderly students and fights being dealt with by authorities every night. Under the influence of alcohol and group mentality, people can do things they regret, with vandalism to vehicles and personal property occurring on the walk home from a night out being a major issue.
Do a lot of education around drinking and awareness and crime. You know, we're looking to do a campaign for refreshers in January about wing mirrors actually. Even though it's something sporadic, it doesn't happen a lot, it does happen. You just get a spate of cars that are damaged, you know, with wing mirrors. You know, that's something that you may think is just a bit of fun, you didn't mean it, you know, you don't think it's a massive issue, whereas actually it's, you know, it is quite a serious issue.
I know there's been quite a few occasions where that actually involve the authorities. because fights have got so out of hand, and it's clear that when they can't just get kicked out of the club, when they are tending to walk home, they cause trouble in that sense as well. So we've got to warn the police and things of what's happening.
Although the negative perception of students varies to lesser and greater extents, and practices and policies do exist to combat the problems they cause, it is clear that student social life has negative impacts on Cardiff's wider society. With new students coming to Cardiff each year repeating the behaviour and attitudes of previous students, these problems are destined to continue. This raises the question as to what more could be done to reduce the effects of student social life, perhaps through the education of students as they come to Cardiff, to raise awareness and promote a more harmonious integration of the student social grouping within the community of established residents.